Hello, can everybody hear me now? Avi, can you hear me now? Okay, I apologize. I hit mute all, which muted me as well. So let me start over. Welcome everyone to the Alternative Home Care's California Assisted Living Waiver webinar. This webinar is to talk about the Assisted Living Waiver Program's expansion into Alameda, Contra Costa, and San Diego counties. I want to give a disclaimer that Alternative Home Care is not a government agency, and I, Jonathan Istron, am not a government employee. We are vendorized by Medi-Cal and the Assisted Living Waiver Program to participate in the program. We are, as you will see, we are the contact person for the Assisted Living Waiver Program in San Diego, Contra Costa, Alameda counties, as well as Fresno, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. So it's under those directions that we're offering this webinar and inviting people to participate in the Assisted Living Waiver Program. I want to give a brief description of the Assisted Living Waiver Program. The Assisted Living Waiver Program was created by legislation that directed the California State Department of Health Care Services to develop and implement a way to provide services to clients who are otherwise eligible to live in nursing homes but would like to move into the community. A key goal of the project was to enable low-income, Medi-Cal eligible seniors and persons with disabilities to move into the community who would otherwise remain living in a nursing home. The Department of Health Care Services oversees both delivery of assisted living waiver services, and they also determine who can participate and determine whether the program is being cost effective. And we'll discuss cost effectiveness a little bit later on in the program. Home and community-based services are waiver programs. Waiver programs are where the state of California asks the federal government if they can use federal dollars that would ordinarily go to institutional care like skilled nursing facilities and use those funds to move people into the community and provide services to them in non-institutional settings. California has a number of waivers, and they use them to develop creative alternatives for individuals who would otherwise require care in a nursing facility or an inpatient hospital. This slide is just a repeat of what I just said. Medi-Cal has an agreement with the federal government which allows the waiver services to be offered in either a home or community setting. The services under the waiver need to be cost neutral, meaning that they can't cost more than the cost of inpatient care in a hospital or in a nursing facility. The basis for the whole home and community-based service program is a result of the Olmstead decision, which was a Supreme Court decision in 1999. In 1995, Sue Jamison, in this picture, the woman in the red shirt, is a lawyer for an Atlanta legal fund, and she sued the state of Georgia on behalf of Elaine Wilson and Lois Curtis. Lois and Elaine were two women who were living in hospitals and mental institutions. They were literally moved around, but they weren't placed into the community. So the legal aid lawyer, Sue, sued the state of Georgia, saying that under the Americans with Disability Act, said that these clients really are in the wrong setting and their rights are being violated. As a result of that, the state of Georgia lost and sued the Supreme Court, or sued the federal government, and eventually the ruling was that the federal government needed to pay the states to provide community-based care as long as the cost of the treatment or care in the community was not more than the cost of nursing home care. So that's kind of the story behind the Olmstead Act and the Olmstead decision, and this is really what drives the home and community-based services. It's what forced the federal government to take dollars that were being used in institutions and use it in home and community-based settings. For the purposes of our discussions under the Assisted Living Waiver Program, residential care facilities for the elderly are considered home and community-based facilities. In other words, they are a home-like environment. In order to participate in the ALW, here are some prerequisites. The facility has to be open for at least 6 months, and you need to be serving clients during those 6 months. So if you just open and you have no clients, and you've been open for 6 months but you have no clients, you wouldn't qualify for this program. You have to be open for 6 months and be serving at least one client for those 6 months. That's not a relative. You have to be surveyed within the last 12 months with no type A deficiencies. You should have a good standing relationship with community care licensing. What happens is when you express an interest in the Assisted Living Waiver Program, the state ALW office in Sacramento will call community care licensing and get a transcript of your facility's visits over the last 3 years. They look for citations, they look for facilities that are in good standing, do not have any type A deficiencies, and then they can go ahead and fill out the application process to enroll in the ALW program. So it's important that you have a good relationship with your LPA. So when they get a call from Sacramento, they'll say nice things about your facility because it goes a long way with the reviewer in Sacramento who's not affiliated with community care licensing. Additional prerequisites for the facility has to have a hospice waiver. The whole idea of assisted living waiver is to move clients into the community and let them stay there. So if we move them into the community and then they develop a terminal illness and we have to move them out again, it wouldn't really meet the needs of the clients. So therefore the state says in order to be in the ALW program as an RCFE, you need to have a hospice waiver. In order to be considered a home-like environment, each client has to be offered a private room. Private room consists of a small refrigerator and microwave, which makes the kitchenette, a semi-private or a private bathroom. Units can be shared by the consent of the resident, meaning if the resident's married, has a sibling, long-time roommate, and they want to continue to share, then they can share. But if not, you have to offer them a private room in order for them to meet the criteria to be enrolled in the Assisted Living Waiver Program. You have to have the availability of a licensed nurse to provide care as needed. All of these clients are coming out of a nursing home. They have skilled needs. These skilled needs are no more than what you're already providing to your current clients, but because you enroll in the ALW, the state wants to make sure that you have a nurse available. The nurse does not need to be on staff 24/7. The nurse needs to be available. And I know a lot of you have your medication supervisors or often LVNs, and that meets the requirements. Ability to accept at least 5 to 10 new SNF clients. Over the course of your first year after you enroll in the ALW program, the ALW office would like you to accept 5 to 10 clients directly from nursing homes. The program needs to be cost effective. The program saves the state money by moving people out of nursing homes and into the community. This is not to say that you can't have someone who's currently living in your building and you want to roll them over into the ALW, you can. But you first need to take a client from a nursing home before you can do a rollover. And in order to enroll in the program, we're looking for facilities that could, over the course of their first year, accept 5 to 10 new nursing home referrals. Goals of the Assisted Living Waiver Program: making affordable housing with personal and health-related services available to frail older adults and individuals with disabilities, maximizing dignity, privacy, independence, and autonomy, and providing an alternative to long-term care placement in a nursing home. On this slide, you see the services that are provided by RCFEs and the services that are required to be provided by the ALW provider. They're the same. Under California Title 22 Community Care Licensing Regulations, you're required to have 24-hour awake staff to provide oversight and meet residents' scheduled and unscheduled needs, assistance with activities of daily living and instrumental activities of daily living, health-related services, for example, medication management services, social services, recreational activities, meals, housekeeping and laundry, and transportation. All of these things are offered by RCFEs. The ALW expects you to offer them to their clients as well. The only exception on the 24-hour awake staff, 24-hour awake staff is not necessary in the 6-bed facilities. So whatever the community care licensing requires for you for 6 beds is all the ALW would require as well. Where does the ALW serve? These are the 7 counties that were previously in the program: Sacramento, San Joaquin, Los Angeles, Fresno, Sonoma, San Bernardino, and Riverside. And 3 new counties were added on March 1st of this year: San Diego, Alameda, and Contra Costa counties. So that's why we're looking to expand in those areas. There's 2 types of implementation models for the ALW. One is public subsidized housing, where services are delivered by a home health agency in an apartment building to those clients that are enrolled in the ALW. And the other model is residential care facilities for the elderly, where services are delivered to ALW clients by the RCFE staff. Who's eligible to join and participate in the ALW? Clients who enroll in the ALW need to be Medi-Cal full scope with no share of cost, and their nursing level, their skilled needs need to be at a level that would require them to be in a nursing home. Resident enrollment. To begin the process of enrolling in the ALW, interested residents contact a care coordinating agency. That's what we do. We are a care coordinating agency for San Diego, Alameda, and Contra Costa counties. So we'd get contacted either by you or by the family, and then we would start the enrollment process. The resident has the right to choose which facility they want to go to. They have a right to choose what kind of services they want to receive, and they have a right to choose the services in a way that will promote their dignity, autonomy, and independence and quality of life. We do a care plan with the client. The client gets the care plan is developed by the client's physician, the community care facility, the RCFE, and the care coordinating agency. So together as a team, we develop what needs this client's going to have and how they're going to be delivered to them when they live in your facility. Assisted living does not generally provide ongoing 24-hour skilled nursing care. The units need to be private occupancy and shared only by choice. What will your facility gain by working with us as the care coordinating agency? What you'll gain is an additional $1,500 to $2,400 a month for every enrollee. This is on top of the SSI rent that the client pays. The state doesn't pay you a monthly fee, they pay you a daily fee. And I'm going to send you a link to the state website where the applications are and where the rates are, so you can see everything for yourself. But the rates are $52, $62, $71, or $82 a day. And you get paid for every day that the client's in your facility. The rates change depending on the level of care that the client's going to need. In addition to the money, you get extra social work services. We have a social worker that comes out monthly to visit the client and work with the facility to make sure the client's happy. We often interface with families to make sure they're happy. And in general, it really enhances the reputation of the facility by having the extra staff. And we send out a RN, a registered nurse, every 6 months. Further responsibilities of the care coordinating agency is to enroll eligible clients. We do the assessments, and we determine what level of care that they are on. We develop the individualized service plans. We refer to those as the ISPs. We arrange for waiver services or other state plan benefits as determined necessary by the assessment and as documented on the ISP. Frequent monitoring of service delivery. monthly visits. The CCA, the Care Coordinating Agency, also helps transition clients from nursing facilities to RCFEs or public housing settings, maintains progress notes, and we adhere to a schedule of client contact. We also handle client and family complaints, and we forward them on to the Department of Healthcare Services as necessary, reporting any and all signs of abuse or neglect to the Department of Healthcare Services and the Ombudsman in the RCFE, and the Department of Healthcare Services and Adult Protective Services in public subsidized housing. Again, just like you, we are a state-mandated reporter. Arranging for payment for vendors who opt not to bill Medi-Cal directly, that is not an option that is used for lots of reasons. The state wants you to be a Medi-Cal provider because they want to pay you directly. This was an option that was available to some smaller facilities when the program first started. Where do we go from here? We are accepting applications for site inspections. We'll email you a form. After we visit your facility, we will help you apply for the ALW enrollment. Following enrollment, a Medi-Cal provider number will be issued to you. So just a word on the process right here. There's a two-page application. The two-page application is your initial application to the state. You will fill that out with all the attachments, and you'll send that to the address on the website. They will review your application. They will call licensing, community care licensing. They will review your information, and they will make a determination on whether they want to proceed with you. If they proceed with you, they'll send you a letter that looks like this. In this letter, they're going to ask you to become a Medi-Cal provider and to pay a $534 fee. So just let me follow up there. So I'm going to go back to the previous slide. There's two processes. One process is enrolling as an ALW provider, as an assisted living waiver provider. That you will go through with the ALW nurse in Sacramento. That person, his name is Jim Leonard, and the woman is Jody Johnson. They are both nurses. They will review your application. When they approve your application, they will send you this letter. In this letter, they invite you to become a Medi-Cal provider. There are two different departments. One is basically licensing and certification, where they determine whether you are providing the right level of care to the clients through ALW. And the other side is the payer, the Medi-Cal office that writes the checks. So once ALW approves you, you then need to get approval from the payment department. It's a separate application. There are 3 forms. They need to be notarized, and they need to be mailed back to the state, and then they will issue you a billing number. Once you get that billing number, you can accept clients, and then you can get paid. And we will help you through the whole process. So I'm finished with the presentation. I'm going to open up the mic for questions, and let me just see. Okay, I unmuted the mics. We can go ahead and take questions now. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, say your name, please.
This is Rodica Ranga calling online.
Okay.
Okay, so how do they know our address to send us the application?
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to email you a link to the state website.
Okay.
You will fill that application out. You'll mail it to Jim Leonard, and he will then he'll know which facility you're talking about.
So where is the link? Because I'm on.
We're going to email it to you.
Or email it to me. Do you have my email address?
If you registered for the webinar, we have your email address.
Actually, I talked to Avi. I don't register because I'm traveling, so I'm just on the phone.
Okay, so Avi has your information, and he'll get you the you the info.
So they're gonna pay daily the amount plus on top of how much we charge. That's
correct. So, but you have to charge the SSI rate. So the SSI rate is $1,000 and change. I don't know the exact dollar amount.
Right.
So you charge the SSI rate. They pay rent and then Medi-Cal pays for the additional services that the client gets.
Okay.
So theoretically, you would get between $2,500 and $3,400 per client.
Per client.
Yes.
Okay.
Other questions?
I have a question. I have a question. Are you free with other callers?
Hold on 1 second. I got a question over the internet. Let me read it to you out loud. If you have an existing Medi-Cal client, how do you qualify that client after we become approved as an ALW provider?
Yes.
I'll answer that question. If you have existing Medi-Cal clients that you'd like to roll over into the ALW program, you first have to accept a SNF client. Once you accept a nursing home client, then you can roll over your Medi-Cal client. Okay, who else had a question?
Yes, me.
Go ahead.
This public housing setting, is that also licensed by CCLD?
No. The public housing setting is licensed by the Department of Healthcare Services, and it can only be done by a home health agency.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jonathan.
In LA County is the only county that has public subsidized housing. No other county was able to get it going. And frankly, the state is not interested in pursuing public subsidized housing locations in this current waiver period, which is in the next 5 years.
So how are the ages on this client?
Well, it's technically anybody who has Medi-Cal is over 21. So you could get younger clients. And generally, most of the clients are over 62.
Oh, okay.
Most of the clients are over 62.
I'll just ask questions if not I'm not typing related to residents.
Okay, hold on. I got a question here that someone sent me. Private room is required and must have a fridge and microwave, even when that may be inappropriate for some residents, dementia, for example. If the client is cognitively impaired, then the microwave can be eliminated. But the state requires the refrigerator. It's not just a state's requirement, it's a federal requirement, because in order to be considered a housing setting, you need to have a refrigerator because it looks like a housing setting.
We're in the middle of a seminar, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're talking on your phone or otherwise, if you could just mute your line so we don't hear the background. Okay, and unmute it if you want to ask a question.
Okay, I have a question if you're free.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Norma Locolano.
Okay, Norma.
He's worried that what?
Okay, if you have a type A citation, but it's not related to residents, it's only related to like the environment, some of them were not hauled yet, will that affect the application?
How long ago was your type A?
Oh, that was, I think, maybe December, maybe. I think around December.
It shouldn't be a problem. If the type A is more than 6 months old and has been cured, it's not going to be a problem. Any other questions?
Hello?
Yes, who's that speaking?
My name is Gafar, G-A-F-F-A-R, Gafar.
Okay, Gafar, go ahead.
I got a question. Say, in case of a 6-bed boarding care, it so happened that they have got separate rooms, and the bathroom is not immediately attached to that room. Like 3 or 4 bathrooms are there, the shower room is there, bathrooms are there. So the bathrooms are not really attached. So what will be the scenario for this one? Bathrooms are there.
So in that example where the bathroom's not attached, it's not a problem. In other words, for example, in the small 6-bed facilities, the bathrooms aren't attached.
Right.
But that's considered a semi-private bathroom where the client can go down the hall, but it's still kind of a private bathroom because there's 4 rooms in the house, but there's 2 bathrooms. So
I see.
that's allowed. That's allowed.
What
what we don't want is we don't want a rooming house where there's 4 rooms and the hallway down the hall is where the bathroom is.
Right.
That's not the type of environment we're looking for. It's really got to be like a home-like environment.
Right, that's correct. Just like in case of there's some homes are going to happen, there are 3 or 4 rooms. The bathrooms are just a few feet away, from the.
Right. So that's okay. That's okay.
Thank
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, hello?
Jonathan,
Who's speaking?
we're 6
Hello,
bed. Hello, Jonathan. We're licensed 6. That means we can accept 5 more SNF.
Say that again?
If we're licensed 6,
Yes.
so we can only admit 6, right?
Correct. If you're licensed for 6 beds, this program, I would encourage you to apply, but it might not be for you. We're finding the facilities, the larger facilities, do better in this program than the smaller facilities. We have a few people who are in smaller facilities, and what happens is they call and say they have a vacancy. It takes us 3 weeks from the time we get a referral to the time we can enroll them in your program. Sometimes it takes 4 weeks. So we've discovered a lot of the 6-bed facilities don't want to wait that long for a resident. And we've gone through and enrolled the client, ready to move them in, and the 6-bed facility has filled it with a private pay. This has happened on more than one occasion. So we don't get mad. It's just what happens. And then we have to find another placement for that client. So if you can hold a room for 4 weeks while we apply for a client to get enrolled in the program, then I would encourage you to enroll. The idea of having 6-bed facilities in the program is very helpful because a lot of families want the 6-bed facilities. They want a smaller facility. But it doesn't always work out because you don't always have a vacancy. Or when you have a vacancy, you don't want to wait the 4 weeks to get them filled, and you'll let the room go to somebody else. So those are some of the challenges we have with the smaller facilities. Okay.
Application already up and running. How soon can we get the resident?
Okay. So I'm gonna answer that question. I'm gonna mute the phone. I muted the line while I answer the question. So the question was, once you get enrolled, how long does it take to get your first client? We can send you your first client within 4 weeks after you get enrolled, because that's actually your first client might come quicker, because if we know and we get a notice from the state that you're going to be pending your license enrollment, then we can start processing a client. So as soon as you get approved, we can probably send you somebody from the nursing home right away. Okay, does that answer your question?
Very well. Thank you, Jonathan.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hello,
Any other questions?
Can you hear
Okay,
me?
yes, who's that speaking?
This is David Gaffney.
Okay, hold on one second. David, hold on. I'm going to mute everybody, and then I'm going to unmute you. David, I unmuted you. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jonathan. First, great presentation. A couple questions, and then you can mute me so folks can hear without background. One is, you talked about a requirement for a licensed nurse to be available. Can you talk about whether or not what currently most of us 6 beds do is we have, home health agency come over and do that. That's funded through public funds now. Will that meet the requirement? Second, could you address a 6-bed that currently has 1 or 2 beds available? Would that meet the goal of having the ability to accept 5 to 10 new clients in a year? And then, how available are clients typically? You said it might take 4 weeks to get one, but how often are they available? Those are my questions right now.
Okay, so let me answer the last question you asked was about the availability of clients and whether to take 5 or 6, 5 to 10, and your first question was about the nurse. regarding the nurse, having a home health nurse available is fine. What you can't do is, for example, I left you unmuted, and so you can have some follow-up here. If you have a client who's on service, let's say, for example, we send you a client or you enroll a client who is on oxygen, for argument's sake. Okay? So you got, also when clients enroll in the ALW, a lot of the health conditions that you don't need to get a waiver from the state, from your CCL, from your LPA for an ALW client. Because once they're enrolled in the ALW program, the state of California has an MOU between CCL and DHCS. So that takes care of a lot of the prohibited health conditions and the allowable health conditions. So let's say you have a client on oxygen. Okay? So the diagnosis is COPD. And let's say the client needs a breathing treatment. Now, you might call a home health agency to come out and do the breathing treatments for that client. So the state, if Medicare is paying for it, the state doesn't want you to use those services through the home health agency because they're paying you a per diem to provide the skilled needs for that client related to the client's illness. So if the client has COPD, it's on their individualized service plan, and it says breathing treatments required weekly, or whatever the care plan calls for, the state expects you, the RCFE operator, to provide those services. However, let's say the client has pneumonia and has general weakness, and you want to order physical therapy for that client. The state would say, okay, we can have that, because that's not related to the ISP. That's related to a new short-term illness. It's acute in nature, and it's going to be short-term. That's appropriate to use Medicare dollars for. Okay, so does that answer the question of how you could use the home health agency under Medicare dollars and have the person enrolled in ALW and not be considered double dipping?
Yes, that was clear. And I guess my follow-up to that would be, if in the ISP there's a chronic condition that would require the input of an appropriately skilled professional, then it would be the RCFE's responsibility to provide that person at their own cost.
That's correct. So, for example, let's use a diabetic who needs to have insulin on a daily basis. If your staff isn't trained to do it, or however you work it out, you need to have an RN there or an LVN. The state's paying you $52, $62, $71, or $82 a day to provide that care. They expect you to provide that insulin service, whether it's checking blood sugars or giving the injections. However you can legally do it in an RCFE setting, they expect you to do it.
So, Jonathan, if you could kind of unofficially give us some guidelines on what's worked well in your experience. So for those RCFEs who do not have inexpensive access to a nurse, for example, do you find that we cannot take the residents who are in the 71, 82 per day and limited to the initial?
No. The 71 and 82. Let me just let me just talk about tiers quickly. Tier 1, medication management, assistance with bathing and dressing, transfer assistance. Those are the three ADLs that primarily will get somebody into a Tier 1. Tier 2, medication management, incontinency will typically be a Tier 2. A Tier 2 will be an insulin-dependent diabetic, whether they're incontinent or not. Tier 3 would probably be someone who's like incontinent of bowel and bladder, not just nocturnally, and needs and has medication management issues. Might be or might not be insulin dependent. Tier 4 is someone who's almost bedridden, incontinent of bowel and bladder, needs full assistance in transferring. Those are the different levels. So we find that smaller facilities, the 6-bed facilities, who don't have the LVNs or the RNs on staff, generally take the clients who medication management, which is something that they do well, and the incontinent clients, where they're going to get the Tier 2 or Tier 3 on. And that's what's worked for the smaller facilities. And that's one of the things we do as a care coordinating agency is we help identify clients that can go to different facilities. Okay? Now, I forgot what the second question was. That was on the 6 to 10, the 5 to 10. Was that what your second question was?
Right. Second question was a
Right.
6 bed. If we have 5 that are full, typically, would we still be considered somebody who can handle 5 clients a year?
Okay, so let's just, how many vacancies, how many new clients do you admit a year in your 6-bed facility?
Maybe 5.
Okay. So this might not work for you, but typically in the smaller facilities, especially I'm looking at an owner, I'm thinking of an owner in Fresno. She has 4 6-bed facilities. So for her, she was able to get into the program because she enrolled all of her facilities, and over the course of a year, she was able to really take those five clients. It's not a hard and fast rule. It also depends on what area. A lot of what drives enrollment in the ALW for facilities is where the clients are. So if we have a rural area that doesn't have a lot of large RCFEs, but we have clients in nursing homes who want to be transitioned, the state will often enroll the smaller facilities in those areas. And
Okay.
did that answer the question?
Very good. Another kind of follow-up is, can we get just 1 or 2 of the rooms to meet your needs so that we can put a fridge and microwave in, say, like one of the rooms, and that one would be allocated for your needs? Or do they all have to be meeting your needs?
No. Only the room that has the client living in it needs to be enrolled in. In other words, only when the client's living in it do you need to have the refrigerator microwave. In other words, if you don't have an ALW client, you don't need to have a refrigerator or microwave in that room. Only when you have an ALW client do you need to do that.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Okay, I'm going to unmute everybody again. If there's we'll just take one more question. Hold on, unmute everybody. Okay, anybody else with a question?
The need, the supplies of the residents, like the incontinence supplies.
Who's this? Who's speaking right now with the incontinence supply question?
Me, Teresita.
Teresita. Okay, hold on one second, Teresita.
Sure.
Hold on. Okay, Teresita, you asked about, I muted everybody. The question is, what about incontinence supplies? Medi-Cal will pay for the incontinence supplies. If they're paying for incontinence supplies now, they'll continue to pay for the incontinence supplies from the clients in the ALW program.
Okay.
So if I don't know if you bill Medi-Cal for them now, or not you, but the pharmacy, but
No.
the state doesn't expect you to pay for the incontinence supplies. The state expects Medi-Cal to pay for them, however they're paying for them now.
How about the insulins? All the
Insulin, the same thing. It's the Medicare Part D or the Medi-Cal medication benefit, the pharmacy benefit that's paid for by the state.
okay,
that
just
hasn't
about
changed.
all their needs are supplied.
Right. You need to take care of their physical needs, the social
Yeah.
needs, bathing, dressing, feeding, etc. Okay, I'm going to unmute everybody. Okay, if there's no more questions, I just got another email. I'm licensed for 4 right now. Can I qualify for the program? You can always qualify. It's a question on whether you're going to get any clients or whether the state's going to need you. In other words, the program's open to anybody who wants to apply. It's whether you're going to get referrals. It's whether you're going to, how quickly the state's going to go through your application. So the state's going to go through applications for those people who can meet the state's needs sooner. So if you're a larger facility, the state's most likely going to put your application on the top. If you're a smaller facility, the state's going to put you, again, unless there's a specific need in that rural area, the state's going to move you to the next round. But I will tell you, you can look on the website. There's a number of 6-bed facilities that are in the program. In LA County, there's a lot of 6 beds. In Fresno, we have 1 large facility and 5 6-bed facilities. In Riverside and San Bernardino, there's a mixture of large facilities and 6 beds. So the program works for everybody. And it's
What's
just
the
a matter
website?
of, okay, we're going to send you that link. Okay? Are you going to have the instructions for you in applying for ALW in the email? There's going to be a link in the email to the website in which it will explain to you how to apply. I muted everybody because there's a lot of background noise, but I just wanted to thank everybody for your participation. If you have any questions, call Avi in our office. And if call Avi, and we'll be sending out an email with the links. Okay, everybody, thank you again, and have a great day.